अच्छा जी, we were at the last topic of this chapter, which has stretched too long. That is 4.15, resolve requirement related conflicts. Now, once we have prioritized the requirements, when we have technical requirements, specifications and everything put in place, now we are at the stage of resolving the requirement related conflicts as the last step. Here we will see the conflicts may arise at any point in the business analysis process, and naturally we are dealing with uncertainty. जी आप क्या कह रहे हैं?
So basically we lost from 4.13.2 sir, we lost from section 4.13.2, that is inspection.
जी अदील,
सर मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
अदील आवाज आ रही है?
जी सर, yes I can hear you. Hello. सर मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको? हेलो हेलो हेलो.
अदील आवाज आ रही है?
Hello, जी sir, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello.
अदील?
जी सर. Hello. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Should I continue?
Sir, can you hear me?
आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही मुझे, और एप्लीकेशन भी नहीं चल रही.
अच्छा. सर हम हैं बेसिकली 14.13.1 पे. 14.13.1 पे. There. Hello.
Okay.
जी सर, आवाज आ रही है मेरी अब? सर आप कहाँ चले गए थे? हेलो.
Okay.
हेलो.
14.3.1 was a peer review. I don't know, I think your screen was stuck and probably you couldn't hear me. Peer reviews can be conducted at any point during the requirement process. We said we can do the peer reviews, we can do the inspections. Peer reviews are, in business analysis, a peer review is a formal or informal review of the requirement by the peers of the business analyst. You are the business analyst, other business analysts may come and analyze your work. Business analysts may include other practitioners, such as their managers or someone in the business analysis center of excellence. Quality assurance people are a very good resource for that. Purpose for the peer review is to ensure that the written business analysis deliverables, including all forms of requirement documentation, are in compliance with the organizational standards and generally held principles of requirements writing. So, you might understand that when you write an article or anything on MS Word, it is very hard to check yourself. You may not catch your own mistakes, and if you show it to someone else, he would instantly catch a mistake you have done. So peer reviews is very good in finding those kinds of mistakes which you are unable to even point out by yourself. This helps to ensure that there are no glaring errors in the requirement that could cause problems during the review. Peer review may also be held after the review session and with the business stakeholders to ensure the final document is understood and accepted by the solution team and the development community in general. Conducting a peer review is fairly straightforward. All reviewers are provided with a copy of the document and asked to review the document prior to attending the peer review session. They must come prepared. They must have studied the document by themselves. They must have pointed out the discrepancies at their own. And once they come to the peer review session, there the requirements are reviewed as a group, with each reviewer pointing out issues or problems in the document. A form of screen sharing technology can be used to display the document and make changes to it during the meeting as issues are discussed, thereby saving time and ensuring the error raised are properly fixed. You can do that on the go. You can display the document on screen, and point by point you could keep discussing and making amendments to that document right there. When a formal session is not conducted, the document can be distributed to the peer review team. If there is no meeting, no review team physical meeting, then you can electronically send them, email them the document, and they can review it and send you the tracked report or the document, amended document from themselves, which will be with tracking on in MS Word. That would help you find who has commented what, and then you can join all those documents and make the necessary corrections wherever required. Often, okay, inspections are a more rigorous form of a peer review. Inspections are initially targeted for hardware development and were later modified to be applicable for anything that needs to be reviewed for accuracy, completeness, and relevance. So the purpose of inspection is to check for accuracy, completeness, and relevance. So
Hello.
it can be done for the quality of the thing, or it can also be done for validation. In a predictive
Hello.
cycle process,
Hello.
requirement inspection are typically performed once at the end of the requirement. So in predictive
Hello.
cycle, because the things are to be produced
Hello.
at the end, so this inspection can be done at the end when the product comes out, when the document is ready for final approval. Often inspections are performed after all of the business stakeholders have had a chance to review and confirm their respective portions of the requirements. The objective is for the business to ensure that the requirements are acceptable in their current form. Inspections can also be performed on groupings or chunks of related requirements. You can have a smaller part of the document inspected first, and then the next part, and then the next part. So you can do it that way. Inspection is performed by peers who participated in the creation and documentation of the requirement and are recipients of the requirements document. Business stakeholders and management are excluded from an inspection session. Only the technical people would be invited for the inspection. Requirement inspection checklist should include the following items. For example, are all internal cross references to other requirements correct? The connection between the requirements, interconnectivity between the requirements, is it properly defined and is it correct? Or are all the requirements written at a consistent and appropriate level? Number one, we have discussed earlier that a requirement must be described to the appropriate level, neither less nor more, at an appropriate level. And all the requirements must be consistently described to that appropriate level. Do the requirements provide an adequate basis for design? We said in elicitation that we will keep asking questions until and unless solution is clear to us. So it provides an adequate basis for design. If it doesn't, then we have to need to ask more questions. Is the implementation priority for each requirement included? That the requirements have been prioritized. Are all external hardware, software, and communication interfaces defined? Where various things are going to connect to your system and solution. Are they properly defined? Where and when and how? How algorithms intrinsic to the functional requirement being defined? Is the expected behavior documented for all anticipated error conditions? So a checklist differentiates an inspection from a peer review. In a peer review, it depends upon the knowledge of the reviewers, whereas the inspection uses a checklist of known defects for the product being inspected. Inspections also follow a more rigorous process than peer reviews and use a series of rules to govern how they are performed. There is a method there is a procedure for conducting the inspection. Then are the approval sessions. Approval sessions are conducted separately from the confirmation sessions. As we said, we were validating and we were verifying the requirements. That was not the time when we get the approval. We get the approval when the verification and validation has been done. After the solution is confirmed and validated, the business analyst obtains sign-off on the requirements. Sign-off may be formal or not and may be predetermined in business analysis planning. When signatures are sought, there are 3 signatures that are usually requested. So, for the approval, we need signature. There are 3 people who are most important for that, and these 3 signatures we need. One is a business owner, such as the executive in charge of a business area, who agrees that the requirements represent a complete and accurate solution to the problem. Solution team recipient, who accepts the document and acknowledges that it is sufficient to build the documented solution, because solution team is the one which will create it, and they are accepting that yes, this can be done. They are signing it. And the business analyst who actually prepared the deliverable. So these 3 people will sign the approval, sign off the approval document. Obtaining approval for the requirement should be a fairly automatic procedure. It is rare for a person of authority, such as a vice president or director of the company, to take the time to thoroughly read and analyze a complete set of requirements for any given project. They may ask someone closer to the project whether the requirements are acceptable. So those people to whom they would be asking, they must know the requirements are okay or not, because this is the feedback they are going to give to the boss, and boss is going to sign it off. Since the requirements are confirmed to be correct, accurate, understandable, and implementable by all the individual constituencies, obtaining approval for the senior manager should be a routine process. Problems in obtaining approval arise when the lower level managers or process workers have not seen the requirement yet and are unable to provide a positive opinion about them to the senior manager. Since the requirements are confirmed to be correct, accurate, understandable, and implementable, this we have discussed already. Okay, this brings us to the last part of the chapter, that is resolve requirement related conflicts. Conflicts may arise at any point in the business analysis process. Whether the conflict is between the business unit voicing opposing views of what the solution should be, or a solution team and a product stakeholder disagreeing on the way to solve the business problem, the first order of business is to determine what the problem is that the parties are attempting to solve. So we must all agree, we must reduce the conflict to that level that we all understand the real problem, all of us. The business analyst mediates the situation by discussing the differences and by understanding the points of view of each stakeholder, listens to everyone, notes down his point of view. Several discussions may need to occur before a solution is reached. When unable to reach a decision, the issue needs to be escalated. This we already understand, that we try to resolve the issues, and if issues are not resolvable, then they must be escalated to the next higher level. The process for making decisions, resolving requirement related conflicts, and the escalation path to follow when negotiating efforts fail should have been defined through business analysis planning. So this all must have been done, must have been outlined in the business analysis plan. Business analysts require soft skills in negotiation and need to learn how to bring opposing sides to consensus. Facilitating a win-win solution is a key. The business analyst also should be capable of analyzing the reasons as to why the conflict exists. There are numerous techniques that can be used to help a team reach a decision or resolve a conflict. Techniques remove subjectivity, emotion from the process. We have already studied them, most of them. Delphi, we have already talked about it. It is a technique. The Delphi technique is an information gathering technique used as a way to reach consensus from experts on the subject. We have used this technique when we were eliciting the information also. But now, because there is a conflict, we are again getting back to the stakeholders and asking them questions. to understand what the problem really is. Experts on the subject participate in this technique anonymously, and I have described why anonymously, because we do not want to get impressed by anyone. We just want to take their views, not their personalities. A facilitator uses a questionnaire to elicit ideas about the important points related to the subject. The responses are summarized and are then recirculated to all the experts for further comments. So this way nobody knows who has given what point, but all the good points get to everybody and they can suggest further, and ultimately a consensus may be reached in a few rounds of this process. A Delphi technique helps reduce bias in the data and prevents any one person from having undue influence on the outcome because everybody is anonymous. The Delphi method relies on peer pressure and the wisdom of crowds to produce the correct decision or solution. This technique works well for teams operating from diverse locations. When applying the multi-voting technique, multi-voting we have just discussed a few minutes earlier. Multi-voting technique to resolve a conflict, the team brainstorms to generate a possible list of options for resolving the conflict. And we can apply a multi-voting technique on that. Previously, we were talking about using multi-voting technique for prioritizing the requirement. Now we are talking about using the same multi-voting technique for evaluating the options, prioritizing the options for resolving the conflict. The team decides how many items will be on the final list. All the items remaining after a first cut of the brainstorm answer or questions are then numbered. Each participant receives a limited number of votes and is asked to place the vote against the unranked choice. For example, when provided with 5 votes, a participant is able to place 3 votes on one choice and 2 on another. When all members of the team have voted, the votes are tallied and the results posted. When there is a clear decision, the process ends. Otherwise, the total list is adjusted by eliminating those at the bottom and the process is repeated, this time with fewer votes per person. In the end, the decision is based on the option with the highest score. Weighted ranking, again, we have used it in prioritizing the requirements. Again, we use it here. The same weighting ranking technique used to rank solution options is in need assessment and prioritize requirement in requirement registration and analysis is applied to resolve the requirement related conflicts. The technique is applied in the same manner. Options are listed, ranked, and voted upon. The option with the highest score is selected. Options are typically solution related. For example, in the case of two requirements that completely conflict with each other, this technique does not compare the requirements to each other, but instead compares the differences between the solution options that represent the requirements. Right. So this brings us to the end of this very long chapter, requirement elicitation and analysis. I don't know if you can, I can't hear you, but if you have any questions. Jadil, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Adil, I am making a call to you.
Okay. जी सर।
जी अदील, आपकी आवाज तो मुझे नहीं आ रही, मेरी आवाज आती रही आपको?
जी सर, बिल्कुल साफ क्लियर आ रही थी।
अच्छा, आई डोंट नो, देयर इज समथिंग रॉन्ग। मतलब ये है कि वी हैव फिनिश्ड इट। ये जो चौथा चैप्टर है रिक्वायरमेंट एलिसिटेशन एंड एनालिसिस का, तो कोई क्वेश्चन वगैरह हैं तो बताइए।
नहीं सर, मैं कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं।
अच्छा, अभी ऐसा है कि अगला चैप्टर हम आज शुरू नहीं करते, वी स्टार्ट इट नेक्स्ट टाइम, क्योंकि उसमें फिर हम पूरा वो एक नया शुरू हो जाएगा। अभी हमारे पास 2 चैप्टर हैं, ट्रेसिबिलिटी एंड मॉनिटरिंग और सॉल्यूशन एवेल्युएशन। और अच्छा, मुझे याद नहीं रहा था कि वेंसडे और थर्सडे दोनों दिन में अवेलेबल नहीं हूँ। तो फ्राइडे को मिलें, फ्राइडे को मिल लेते हैं। तो अगर कोई मसला हो तो मुझे फिर ईमेल कर दीजिएगा, कोई बात हो तो बताइएगा।
नहीं सर ऑल गुड हम फ्राइडे
ओके ठीक है, चलिए जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच, टेक केयर, अल्लाह हाफिज।
थैंक यू ओके अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।